7th grade, my dad got really into climate change. He'd been reading about it in his spare time, and he got really worried. So he started giving climate science lectures to anyone in earshot. I was not particularly interested, but I was a main recipient of these spiels, and I must have at least somewhat paid attention because I quickly realized that climate change was much worse than I'd thought, and not enough was being done about it. I'll spare you the full version I get at home, but I want to show you the power of carbon dioxide on Earth's climate. Here's a reconstruction of the past 50 million years of the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. For all of human history, carbon dioxide has been low, and the Earth has been in an ice house state that's cool, glaciated, and suitable for life as we know it. But recently, since the Industrial Revolution, humans have rapidly increased the carbon dioxide concentration, mainly by burning fossil fuels. The far right of this graph shows several future projections of what atmospheric carbon dioxide could look like, based on different scenarios. RCP 8.5 represents a high emission scenario without strong climate policy. If we go down this fossil fuel intensive path, carbon dioxide could reach 900 to 1,000 parts per million by the end of the century. So you might be wondering, what would Earth look like if that happened? Well, actually, it already happened, about 40 million years ago. And we have a good idea of what the Earth looked like then. It was a warm house climate with no ice. The ice that's currently on land is keeping a lot of water out of the ocean, and if it all were to melt, sea level would rise over 200 feet, submerging a lot of the land that people live on, including large parts of China, Brazil, and the US. This would take a long time to play out, but here's an approximation of what coastlines would look like. Zooming in on the eastern US, we can see that a lot of major cities would be underwater, including Boston, New York City, and Miami. And where we are right here at Bowdoin College would also be underwater. When I think of my time working at the reunion and seeing Bowdoin alumni coming back and reminiscing on their time here, it's sad to think that at some point, future classes might not have this campus to come back to. But we don't have to go down the worst case scenario or wait thousands of years before seeing serious damages and losses from climate change. This is already happening, and the policy decisions we make now will determine how much worse it gets. So it wasn't long before my dad had joined a grassroots advocacy group called Citizens Climate Lobby, and he started a local chapter. But my dad is a self-proclaimed introverted software engineer who'd always avoided public speaking and management roles, so he didn't really want to or know how to lead these chapter meetings, which I usually tagged along to. And as a middle schooler with a short attention span, I quickly got bored when he would spend most of the meetings talking, mainly rattling off information that I was already hearing on a daily basis at home. So, I tried to be patient, but eventually I just asked if I could lead one of the meetings to make it more fun. My dad agreed. So I made cupcakes and came up with a climate action swap we could play, like what you do with holiday gifts, but with different climate actions. And I guess it was weird for a 13-year-old to be leading a group of 60-year-olds. But the meeting went well enough, and my dad was relieved not to have to have led it, so I continued to lead the chapter meetings for the next 7 years. At this point, I knew climate change was important, but I didn't really care about what I was doing. I was leading the chapter meetings because I didn't want to listen to my dad drone on for an hour, not because I really thought we were making a difference. But at the end of 8th grade, my dad was signing up to attend Citizens Climate Lobby's annual Conference and Lobby Day in Washington, D.C., and he asked if I wanted to come. I didn't feel strongly, but I didn't have anything else to do, so I went. And at the conference, I learned a lot more about the carbon fee and dividend policy we were advocating for and why it's so important. I learned that we have a market failure in that it's cheap to use fossil fuels, but the damages they cause are very costly to us later. A carbon price would make the price of fossil fuels better reflect their true cost to society. The carbon fee and dividend policy charges a fee on fossil fuel production that starts low at $15 per ton of carbon dioxide emitted, which translates to an additional 13 cents per gallon of gasoline. The fee increases by another $15 per ton each year, sending a clear signal throughout the whole economy that clean energy is the best option. A 2019 study from Columbia University found that under this policy, US emissions would drop 90% in 30 years, putting us well on our way to meeting widely accepted climate goals. Now, a main concern with a carbon price is that it makes things more expensive for us. So, to address this, the money collected from the fee is returned to all Americans equally each month. With this approach, more than 2/3 of people will come out ahead, getting more money in their dividend checks than they pay in higher prices, with the largest benefits seen in low-income households and marginalized communities. The final part of the policy is called a border carbon adjustment. This charges the US carbon price on imports from other countries that don't have a similar carbon price and rebates US exporters to those countries. So this protects US producers, and it serves another really important purpose. It will motivate other countries to match our carbon price. So this domestic policy will reduce global emissions. Carbon fee and dividend is widely supported by scientific and economic experts. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says, quote, "Carbon prices remain a necessary condition of ambitious climate policies." And the largest public statement of economists ever about anything calls for carbon fee and dividend as the, quote, "most cost-effective lever to reduce emissions at the speed and scale necessary." Carbon fee and dividend seemed like such a no-brainer. It's the most effective climate policy, it's great for people, and it motivates global climate action. I thought that we could go lobby, ask Congress to pass it, and be all set. I thought for sure that my environmentally minded legislators would get on board immediately. But that was not the case. It turned out there was just not enough popular support from their districts for them to get behind this policy. So I finally came to understand the importance of political will and the grassroots work that Citizens Climate Lobby was doing to create it. And throughout high school, I saw this work pay off as carbon fee and dividend legislation was introduced in Congress with bipartisan co-sponsors. Then the policy passed in Canada. And my own representative, who we'd been lobbying, became a co-sponsor of the US bill. Finally seeing the importance of this legislation and how grassroots efforts could make a real difference, I began to take on climate advocacy on my own initiative rather than just going along with my dad. I gave a speech at a school assembly and led a student group to lobby Congress. I picked carbon fee and dividend as the topic of a research paper I had to write for English class and exceeded the page limit by 34 pages. As a middle schooler, I never would have imagined that I would be in college and we still wouldn't have a carbon fee and dividend in the US. Lots of progress has been made. The bill gained over 90 co-sponsors. Every developed country besides the US now has a carbon price. And the EU began charging a border carbon adjustment this year, which will help motivate the US to price carbon. But there's still not enough political will for Congress to pass this landmark legislation. So, to help address this, students across the country are organizing a collective action movement calling on Congress to enact a carbon fee and dividend. The Carbon Fee and Dividend Movement, or CFD movement, began in 2023 when a student at William and Mary brought a sign to the dining hall that said, "Help save our planet. Write Congress to support a carbon fee and dividend. bit.ly/writecongresshere. This link helps people send a pre-written email to Congress in support of the policy. And over the course of the semester, more and more students joined in, making CFD signs to put on their computer cases or dorm doors. And they also spread the message by putting up flyers, writing on sidewalks in chalk, and giving presentations. And the movement had a snowball effect. By the end of the semester, nearly everyone at William & Mary knew about the most effective climate policy, and many had written to Congress expressing their support. And then other schools started to join in too. I learned about this before my sophomore year of college, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. It's exactly what we need. So I got started at Bowdoin. And soon, lots of other students, as well as faculty and staff, joined in, which was so exciting. Thank you, guys. And now the movement has been active at Bowdoin for 3 years. We make signs, put up flyers, pass out stickers, and give presentations, and encourage our classmates to write to Congress about carbon fee and dividend. This winter, we had a snowman climate protest where students made signs for the snowmen to hold. This also engaged people from the town who were walking by and stopped to help make snowmen. And we also lobby our congressional representatives to further convey the local support. On a national level, the CFD movement is growing, with over 30 middle schools, high schools, and colleges involved. I've become a co-leader of the movement, along with my friend Ellie Harmon, and plan to continue growing the movement as part of a master's program in the next few years. Participating in the CFD movement is easy, and there are several quick actions that anyone can take. People can email Congress using the bit.ly/writecongresshere link. They can make CFD signs and display them wherever possible. And they can follow the movement on Instagram at Carbon Fee and Dividend. And when anyone joins the CFD movement, they get connected with us and supported in their local efforts. With this collective action movement, we have the potential to make a huge change that will benefit the world for generations to come. Thank you.